Welcome back, or welcome to
another episode of
Columbia
Conversations. All right.
Today, we have a very
special guest.
Very special guest. You're beating me to the punch, man.
My bad.
Why don't you introduce yourself, special guest?
My name's Maddie Norton. I am a student here at Columbia College.
Nice.
We like to get the student perspective on things. The past two episodes, we kind of had faculty and professors.
Faculty.
We're going back to our roots.
Tutoring roots.
Yeah, a tutor extraordinaire.
Back to where this all started.
Yeah. Tell us about yourself a little bit. Tell the audience.
Where are you from? What's your major?
Yeah, just the basic stuff.
Well, I'm from Modesto, but I've lived everywhere. I've lived in not everywhere. That's an exaggeration. But I've lived in 4 different states and all up and down California. So
nice.
But Modesto is home. This is my 4th semester at Columbia and potentially my last full-time semester, but most likely not.
Famous last words.
Right?
Oh, we need to introduce our other guest.
Yes, we have a second
very special guest.
Mini guest.
He's got a lot to say.
Yes. Of the canine variety. We'll spoil it a little bit.
The little furry.
He is Franz.
She's wrangling him right now.
His name is Roscoe. Say hi.
He is one of the cutest Frenchies I've ever seen.
Very cute.
The single most cutest, but I'm probably biased. He is the goodest of good boys.
Yes. I just met him today, actually.
Me too.
He has really stolen my heart, and I've just fallen in love with his
He's got a personality.
Yeah.
To say the least.
All right, Maddie. So you're a tutor, right?
I am a tutor.
What do you tutor? That's how we all know each other. We're all tutors.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I was exposed to Rahman as soon as I started tutoring.
Yes, I get. I'm kind of a big deal in the Academic Achievement Center. So.
Everybody knows.
Not to mention humble.
Yeah, I'm very humble. Yeah, and those
everybody knows Speedo.
Speedo, they call me Speedo.
Speedo. I just learned about that.
Yes.
Apparently, Maddie didn't know about Speedo.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're tutoring. How did you become a tutor? That's what I want to know.
Spencer Potiker just asked me if I wanted to tutor for him. So I started tutoring for ethnic studies, race and ethnicity in America. And then
Spencer's cool too. We're hoping to get him on the show too.
He's awesome. And then I also tutor communications, psychology and sociology, and then sometimes I get thrown into English or Spanish. But
so a little bit of everything.
Yeah, why not?
Just like Speedo.
Just
too.
not math.
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're here long enough, they just start they ask, "Oh, who's taking this class?" You're like, "I have," and they're like, "All right, you're tutoring this person for this class."
Like, you kind of just get thrown in the ring.
Yeah.
Right. And then it kind of sets a precedent, and you're just stuck tutoring that subject.
Just, you get all the odd jobs around the AAC, but it's fun.
Yeah,
it is fun.
So you're taking a lot of science,
Mm-hmm.
What classes are you?
Yeah, this semester I'm taking anatomy, microbiology, medical terminology, and political science. And then at the end of the semester, I have
Is that with Johnson?
Yeah.
I like Johnson.
Yeah,
I got A's in his
some
class.
people, I think some
too.
people struggle with the way he structures his class.
So I didn't take poli science. I think I took both of his history classes.
Okay.
But I like history a lot, so.
I took History 17 last spring, and I did get an A in it, but it was a little challenging. I think that it was just different, kind of like Armand said, the way that he structures it. And we had 3 different books, so I think it was just learning how to interpret
and both of,
and
because both are what is it, Zen and then Johnson, they're both completely different in their styles of writing and how they write.
Right.
But that's one of the things I did enjoy about his history class was he took that leftist side and then the conservative side, and then he told you this is what everybody else is saying.
Right.
So that's what I kind of dug about it. It wasn't super one-sided type.
Right.
Yeah.
Versus I know in K through 12 history, they're very just this is the facts. Yeah. But not all the facts, but just some of the
Washington
facts.
chopped down the apple tree, or the cherry tree, or whatever.
And Abraham Lincoln lived in a cabin.
That he built.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, right?
I think, the way he structures it throws people off because it's like 2 really big assignments and then basically no homework, which is like, I personally really like because I don't like sort of the busy weekly homework.
Right. Just the busy work.
But if you miss that one assignment, then you're like,
oh, you're screwed.
Yeah, for the whole semester. But I liked it.
I feel like I don't know, because I think he's changed it a little bit because when I took it, you had to have 3 essays, which was like, but I mean, like, you kind of already have them ready when you go in there. So I don't know, like I dug it, but like I said, I like history a lot, so it was all like, it was just kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what are you planning to do with your major? Because what's your major again?
Allied health. So essentially it's just an associate's degree to get into the nursing program. Except the nursing program only takes applications in February, so I have to wait all the way until next February, even though I'll be done necessarily. I guess after
do they
this.
have the nursing program here?
Yeah, where do you take that at?
Yeah, so they have MJC and Columbia have like their combined nursing program. Columbia College does have one here, and they take 10 students a year. So that's why it's so impacted and why people
I was
really
going to say
struggle.
it's super competitive because I know a couple people who are they're planning on taking the nursing program, and they're like, it's very like.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I think you've mentioned before, but you have to get like straight A's or something like. It's
basically,
crazy,
at least in the sciences, if you don't get an A in your sciences, I mean, kind of forget about it. The way, from my understanding, I have a cousin that went to the nursing program here 2 years ago. So from my understanding, they take like 10 a year, and 8 are based off of grades, and 2 are the lottery system, or at least that's what it was when she got into the nursing program.
Right. What, they just pick your name out of hat?
Basically, like either you get lucky or you don't.
That's wow.
Right. I mean, for me, I feel like I'm really banking on getting in off grades, because if it was me or my loved one, I wouldn't want a nurse that just got in on the lottery system taking care of. Right. Right. I think that you should actually know.
How long you been doing this? I don't know. They pulled my name out of the hat. Cool.
Imagine.
You guys are working on my right leg.
Yeah. My right, not your right.
Stage right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a lot of pressure. Sort of under there.
It is, but I think that it's really rewarding, and I think a lot of people pursue nursing because of the flexibility. I mean, you can move around to different departments.
I was going to say, and you can get a job almost anywhere you go.
Oh, yeah, and you can do travel nursing. So, you know,
that sounds cool.
Can spend a month in California, a month in Texas, a month in this place.
For those of you, I don't know if I want to. Our other guest that we introduced,
that just took me out.
Our French guest has a bit of gas, let's just say, and it took us all. It made us speechless.
Yeah.
For a second there.
To say
took the breath right.
Yeah. He's sitting right underneath you.
Yeah,
So.
right. He's aimed right at me. So.
Yeah. Locked and loaded.
So speaking of schooling, have you been to any other colleges besides Columbia? And what was your experience when you went there?
Yeah, so Columbia is actually the 3rd college that I've been to. Straight out of high school, I moved myself up to Chico and attended Chico State for a semester and a half.
Right.
Yeah, we know how that goes. I ended up dropping out, and then I kind of went off on a not so great path, and tried to go to MJC for business and real estate. Didn't really know what I wanted to do.
MJC is kind of rough too, man. Like,
I mean, I just did online, so I didn't have a whole lot of experience with the campus. But I mean, I hear good things about it too. Like, being from Modesto, I always knew that like MJC was a valid option, but never.
I just got gassed again.
I can't.
He's talking through his shirt right now.
Not sure what she's feeding this dog.
He eats good, I'm telling you. Clearly. But what was I saying? Oh, I always
MJC,
knew.
yeah.
Like, I've always heard really positive things about MJC, particularly with the nursing program. But being from Modesto, I wanted to get out of the area. It was like not even an option to me back then. So even Columbia, I did hear about Columbia because of their basketball team, and I went to high school with a kid that got a scholarship here. So
okay.
I heard about Columbia too, but too close to home. I wanted to get out, get away.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, and then you got like the big campus experience and like.
Right,
and that's got to be intimidating because you said you were what? How old?
17.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
And then like Chico's a huge college.
Oh yeah, it's a huge campus. It's huge by like its census. The population.
It's a small
crazy.
city, right?
It is a small town, but
I mean, like the campus itself, like there's so many people there, like just the college is basically like a small...
Its own town. It is. And I would say going to a big university has its pros and cons. Like at Chico State, like we had our own doctor's office. We had our own, like every sports team you can imagine. There was, I mean, I don't know. I used to dance up there too. So that was like the primary reason why I went there was for their dance team. But everything that I needed, I could go through the university for. Like I could go there if I was sick or if, you needed blood work done, like literally anything you could do there. Yeah. So it was super cool. But I also I felt like just one ant in the whole anthill. Like I didn't know how to lean on people. The resources are like so far out there that like you have no idea where to start. Like,
well, and then you're 17 at a college campus, and it's like you don't really understand all. Like, I mean, it took me a couple semesters just at Columbia to be like, wow, there's tons of resources here.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Like, man, I could have been using this the whole time.
Right.
And it's like, and if people don't tell you that, and you're young, and like I said, it's probably intimidating as hell to be at a huge campus like that, and then all these like, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, it was. Like, I mean, here at Columbia, like, you could just walk into Manzanita and, like, chances are you've seen the staff member before and you could just ask them, like, hey, I'm looking for counseling. Where do I go?
Right.
And then, you can get in with a counselor within a couple hours. At Chico State, I remember, like, I would have to pull a number and sit and wait. Like, you're at the DMV or something.
Oh, my goodness.
Like, yeah, like, it was super hard to get, like, the help that you needed versus Columbia is just, like, right there. And everybody is so willing to help because it's just, like, a close-knit community. Like, it really doesn't compare. Like, I had my heart set on going to a university and graduating from it. And like now I'm like, man, why didn't I go to a community college right out of high school?
That's how I feel too, man. It's like there's so many resources and just outlets here at Columbia that's just ridiculously helped me. Like I couldn't imagine being like a freshman in college at like at a CSU or a UC or something like that. So much going on and everything, like you said, like lectures, how many people are in the lectures?
Oh yeah.
Like, and you're not going to get a question answered or anything like that. And then,
right.
Talking to other professors, like you go to a UC, it's the students who are teaching the classes. Like, so you're just kind of like, whoa. But I mean, that's another reason. I mean, we've mentioned it before we started the podcast because it's such a community here at Columbia, and like I feel like everybody's here to help you succeed.
Right.
And like that was something I meant like with MJC. It seems like because they are I think they're like our sister college. We're the same district or something like that. But they are a lot bigger college, and I just feel like you kind of get lost in the mix. Because I've tried to take some online classes there and had some issues and. It was just like, oh, sorry about your luck.
Yeah.
Here it's like you go to your counselor like, well, we have all these options. Let's try this. Let's try that. Here, we're going to make sure this happens. So
yeah,
I totally get it. That's why I like this college. So it's going to be bittersweet when I have to leave.
Yeah, I know you're talking about all this stuff that it's like, oh, Columbia's so special. And like I applied to Chico and I'm like, oh, I'm going to a 4-year now. I got to be ready for that.
Yeah. I mean, definitely, since you've been at Columbia, like you definitely have the skills to navigate like a university and to be successful. So I wouldn't let what I'm saying discourage you from going to Chico because it really is a great school. It's a beautiful campus. There's great people there. You just have to know how to find them.
Yeah, I think I've sort of learned how to navigate the college experience in a more not low stakes, but like a little bit more understanding and lenient system, and then sort of I take those skills into a more.
You'll at least have an idea of what to do when you get to a bigger college. Be like, all right,
what resources to look for, who to ask.
Exactly. Well, and then like, I mean, you don't have to be in trio, do you, Maddie? Well, do you need that to go?
I need to go discuss with them. I actually don't know. Given that the nursing program here is so hard to get into, I want to keep my options open, and I've explored the possibilities of going for my bachelor's, so I should get in with trio, but haven't yet.
Yeah, go talk to Tisha. She's amazing, man.
I keep hearing that too.
No, she's awesome, dude. And also trio's super cool too because you get to go on field trips.
Yeah. Oh, I saw those. Yeah. And like Stan State and like Merced and somewhere else. I think they went to UC Davis.
Semester. It was tight.
Fresno I actually applied to, and I wish I kind of would have went there.
Well, because at first I was like, Fresno. You know what I mean? And then you go to the campus and you're like, oh my God. Like they have their own ice cream, their own milk. Like,
yeah.
They have a bowling alley. Like,
yeah, like
it's
different
like, what's
stuff.
going on here?
Yeah, one thing I will say about Chico is they have an awesome gym.
Oh, I bet.
Like I mean, I'm sure they've updated even more past this now, but like you would scan your hand to get in. And there's like, yeah, and it's like 2-story. Like I used to go there for my dance practices, but you know, sometimes work out or whatever with my friends.
That's
but
wild.
Yeah. Like literally scan your handprint to get in, and then like they have like the whole downstairs. They have an entire indoor track. They have or not the Olympic size swimming pool, but like the official size. You know, or maybe it is Olympic
I feel
size.
like that is Olympic, right?
It is, right?
Yeah,
The official, yeah. So they have like one of those where either like they have that split off, and then they have like a beach kind of chill pool area. Yeah,
Like a beach pool, like sand?
like. No, it's not sand, but it like starts off real shallow, like a shore, you know, and like goes down into the deep end.
Tight.
Yeah, it was super cool. Like it's definitely an experience. They have a whole boxing area there, which I thought was really cool. An entire indoor basketball gym. Like it's really awesome. But
Dude.
not to like brag on Chico, but I felt like since I bashed on it,
Yeah,
I should like
Well, you've
boost
been
Armand
there.
back
Well,
up. Yeah.
You've been there, so like
Right.
you know, like that's just it's cool to hear somebody who's been there because this guy applied there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
That's one of his
And I
options.
got in.
It's one of his options.
And I got in.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. I would definitely, now that I've seen both sides of the college spectrum, though, I would definitely choose this over a big college because
I mean,
even
you
though
save
there
a lot
are
of money and like,
Right.
It's,
Well, especially like if you have family members to live with up here.
yeah,
'Cause
that has
saved
helped me a lot.
tons of money.
Oh yeah, me too. I live back at home, and while it's not always ideal,
Right.
it is. It
It's
has
not
been
permanent,
really
though,
helpful.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how I live. Well, this isn't forever. Let's just let's get through this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. A whole indoor. I kind of want to visit Chico now.
Oh yeah.
we
I mean,
should
it's-
go. I mean, I still haven't been up there. And
Oh, really?
I've been trying to decide between Humboldt and Chico, and I've been to Humboldt, but I've never been to Chico, so we should go up some weekend. And, like,
Dude, I'm
I
totally.
mean,
and you will take you, and you'll show
you
us
can
around.
guide
I
us
can.
around.
Yeah,
dude.
I
That'd be
absolutely
sweet.
can.
Well, I know you should join Trio soon because I know there's another field trip coming up. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
It's over the summer, right?
I think it's like right at the end of the semester, I think, or summer. Yeah, something like that. But it's like a 4-day, 3-night trip.
Oh yeah.
You go to like Sac State,
Reno.
Reno,
Reno and
so it's
something
like getting a little
else.
gambling in there. No, I'm just kidding.
Whoa!
Maybe bet on
If you
some
lost
sports
paychecks
teams.
over legacy.
No.
Get a little craps or roulette in there.
Yeah.
Maybe pay off your tuition or lose it.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I can't go to college next semester. I gambled it away.
I bet it all on black.
We were just talking about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So how long have you had this little guy Roscoe? This
I've
stinky
had
little
him.
fella.
Matter of fact, on Tuesday marked a year. So I've had him since
That's his
January
birthday?
21st. No,
Oh.
his birthday is November 8th. He's a Scorpio, just like his mommy.
Oh.
Yep, he's a Scorpio, just like me.
Oh, that's so cute.
sweet.
Yeah. But he's a little over a year.
That's awesome. Do you guys celebrate his birthday?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Did you get him
So-
like a little dog cake or something?
Oh yes. So okay. So my mom has his brother, like his litter mate. So for their
so
birthdays,
he gets to hang out with his brother?
yes,
That's so
yeah.
awesome.
Our Great Danes are litter mates too. So everybody tells us about litter mate syndrome, but we haven't had a problem. But
What is that?
like I guess theoretically, not in my experience, but I guess like after. Like if you keep litter mates together, they tend to get like aggressive towards each other.
Oh,
which,
really?
I mean, I guess I could see, but
Like, I'm the big
I haven't seen
brother.
it. Yeah, I guess,
I
but
wonder if it like deals with breeds though. Or it's probably how you raise them too.
maybe.
You know
I
what
mean, I don't know. We have litter mates of Frenchies and Great Danes, and they are both seem to be fine. And those are very two different breeds.
Completely different.
Yeah, yeah.
Great Danes are like what, 7 feet tall or something like that?
Like 6, but yeah, yeah. My
Taller than me,
stepdad's
that's for
6'1",
sure.
so my stepdad's 6'1", and when our dog puts his paws on my stepdad's shoulders, his head is over his. Yeah,
Wow.
Big dog.
a big dog. It's like 180 pounds.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's like a person,
Yeah.
a good sized person.
Sounds like you got to take a small loan out to feed that dog. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, we've thought about it.
Small personal dog loan.
Yeah.
But Roscoe's little. For those the viewers,
He's a little Frenchie. He's probably like 25 pounds.
No, he's like 40. He's chunky.
Well,
yeah.
He's small in stature, but big.
Look at those muscles.
He does have some muscles.
Yeah, he does.
He's a buff little guy.
He is.
What about you, Steve? Do you got any pets?
Yeah, I have a Russian blue cat. His name is Mr. Nimbus.
Mr. Nimbus.
Yeah. Well, his full name is Theodore Horton Nimbus. He goes by Teddy H. Nimbus, but most of the time it's just Mr. Nimbus.
Yeah.
Very official. Yeah, it sounds like a very important cat.
He has his own Instagram.
Yeah, he also has his own Instagram. Yeah. Theodore_Horton_Nimbus.
For those that are curious.
Yeah.
For those that would like to go follow my cat. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he knows we're talking about him. He's sending us his love.
He doesn't like cats.
Yeah.
No, he does like cats.
Oh, does he?
He does, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, no, my daughter has a dog too. She has it's like a little pocket pit. It's a little blue nose. She's like a little. So we had some stray cats, and like she was like the mom, like pick them up by the neck and lick them and all that kind of stuff. So she's like a real motherly little pit bull.
Yeah. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a dog person over a cat person.
I like
really?
cats myself.
Really?
I love cats.
Oh, I'm
Dogs are
outnumbered.
like, boo. It's like, yeah, they're cute or whatever. Cats are like, I really like cats.
Yeah, cats are. You know, I
Cats
like them
just-
both. It's kind of like up in the air. Dogs are cool, but sometimes they're like a little invasive.
Yeah.
You know, kind of in your
yeah.
face, breathing on you, farting on you. Cats,
Hey.
I don't know. Cats are just like they're. It's on their terms. Like they let you pet them when they feel like it.
And I think that's what I don't like about cats. Because you could be petting a cat and then next minute you're getting clawed and the cat's gone. That fast.
It's more. It's
Like-
that's exciting. Like a dog, yeah, it's gonna like you. Like
exciting.
it's like trying too hard. You're like, yeah, whatever. But like a cat, it's like, here we go. This time I'm gonna like try this out, and maybe it'll work. Maybe it won't.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
I'll get
you like
caught.
the chase,
I do.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
could say I
that's
like
what
the
it
Well,
is.
Nimbus knows his name and he knows how to do tricks too.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like when I come home, like you'll hear him hop off or whatever, and he'll come in my room and he just sits there and like, meow, like screams at me to pet him, and then I'll have a little treat and I'll be like, Nimbus, sit, and he sits down. And I give him a little treat, and I'll be like, high five, and he like, because he doesn't understand shake, but he likes this. So he high fives, and then I do this little thing like, be a tiger, and like I'll hold the little treat up and he'll like jump up like a little tiger.
Wow.
Yeah, he's pretty smart.
Sounds like you have a dog cat, like a dat.
There are
A dat.
there are dog cats, and there's also cats that are kind of like dogs.
Yeah.
Which I like.
Yeah, he's pretty
Personally.
cool. We have other cats though, and he's a domestic terrorist. I'll tell you that. He's
Against your other cats.
Oh man, those cats live in fear.
Wow.
Yeah.
He's top dog. He's top cat.
He's
Top cat.
Yeah. Well, he eats with the dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he eats first, and then he lets the other cats eat. It's like he's
Wow, what a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, he's a 20-pound cat, but he's all cat. Like he's not fat. Like he's all muscle. Like he's a huge
Whoa.
cat. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. Other than your classes, do you have anything else that you kind of do around campus? I mean, you're a tutor, but any extracurriculars, any sports, or not sports,
outside
I mean, you did
jobs.
dance. We have dance here on campus?
I did do dance. No, we don't have dance here, sadly. I wish we did. I do dance at a studio that's in town.
Nice.
But
like,
I
do you
think we
teach it or
should-
just dance it?
No, just dance it.
Nice.
Yeah. I used to teach when I was done competing, but I was still in high school. But I think it would be cool if we had a dance team. I just don't know that, I don't know how to find
Do a dance club.
people.
Yeah.
And Whitney said that she would be the staff member too. I just don't know if I
Oh,
could
really?
take that on. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're trying to get in the nursing
You
program.
know,
Yeah.
And
there's
as much as I love dance, it's like, is dance going to pay my bills?
right?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, maybe.
What kind of
but-
dance did you do?
I competed in hip hop and
Nice.
jazz, which is like, well, it was really palm, which is like a technical jazzy with palms. So, what are you doing?
That's really cool that you did that.
How many years did you dance?
Oh, 8 or 9 or so. And then I went to Chico. That's actually why I chose Chico. Everybody told me not to go there because it was a party school, but
That's what I've heard.
Nobody
it's like,
knows
I think it's
anything.
like Santa Barbara and Chico are the party schools in California, I think.
yeah, I mean, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Like outside of Chico State, there's like a whole like fraternity. They call it fraternity row, and like there's like all the frat houses. So it definitely is a party school.
Oh wow.
But if you can separate yourself from that, like nobody's making you go party.
That's
you know
a
what
good
I mean?
point. That's
like,
a super good point. Like, yeah,
I mean, the younger you are, it probably feels more like that, but nobody's making you go party. So
that's a solid point.
Yeah.
Everybody has choice.
Right.
Like straight up, if school, like, and I think that's like a good point you made earlier. Like you went there and then you just needed some time to like grow.
Right.
And then you were ready to be academic, you know?
Yeah.
Because similar with me, man, it took me, you know, I went to a trade school, a recording school, and then it took me a while where I'm like, you know what, I just want to go back to school and learn some other stuff.
Right.
And, you know, it took me to being more of an adult to be like, oh, okay, I can do this because, you know what I mean? You got to grow up sometimes.
Exactly.
Before you can, like, take on some serious stuff. That's what I mean. Like, you were 17 at a huge college.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know?
But I really wanted to get out of the house. I feel like I kind of went like backwards because like as a kid, I couldn't really be a kid. So when I moved out and I went to Chico, I was like, I just wanted to hang out with my friends. I wanted to chill. I didn't want to worry about anything. I didn't want to have to, you know, I didn't want to take care of business versus like once, even though it took me dropping out of school twice, once I like went through that and I kind of like navigated life and made some good decisions, some really bad decisions, got in some trouble. And
well, sometimes those bad decisions is where you learn the most.
Oh yeah.
You know
and
I
I
mean?
definitely did. I'm hard-headed. So like I have to, you know, touch the stove to know that it's hot instead of just looking at the red burner.
Yeah,
which,
I got to touch it twice.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that wasn't right.
Right. And especially like if my mom tells me, I might have to touch it 3 times because just because.
I hear it.
So
yeah, I'm the same way, man. I'm hard-headed, and I like to learn the hard way.
yeah, me too. And I always think I'm like, well, maybe I can do it different. That was your experience,
Right.
You know?
I could probably swing this better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, maybe not. So.
No, I have a hard time sometimes with my daughter, like, because sometimes I'm like, you know what? She just got to learn this lesson. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Because, like, sometimes your losses, man, you learn, you don't always learn on your wins. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's like sometimes when you lose, that's when you learn the most. Like, not doing that again.
So true. So true.
Yeah.
And that was honestly one of the best things. My mom and I had a falling out for like 6 or 7 years. And like, that was one of the best things. Not my biological dad, because he's not around, but my little brother's dad, that was one of the best things that he did, was just kind of let me like live my life and explore and serve those consequences. Even though like it really sucked to some degree, I was able to like learn myself.
And mature.
And mature the hard way, but that's what I wanted to do.
People, man, I know people like twice my age who still aren't mature.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? You're just
Yeah.
like, dude, are you going to grow up?
Right.
So, yeah, no, sometimes you got to take the hard, like the bumpy, rough road to get into like the paved road, man. You
Definitely.
know what I'm saying?
Well, you're in a really good place now. Like I'm kind of
Definitely.
surprised to hear this.
Yeah, you never knew that about me,
Because
yeah.
you seem you're taking all the really hard like science
Super hard
classes,
yeah,
working
right.
really hard, really studious, a great tutor.
Well, thank you.
So you've
But yeah.
really come a long way.
I
yeah,
have.
no, I would have never guessed that
Yeah.
too, because like you just seem like very academic.
Yeah, now, but
Yeah.
I definitely it's been a bumpy road for sure. But
When you were going to Chico for dance, like were you like going for dance, or were you doing a different major? Like
Is that like a degree
So-
or something?
Yeah,
like what
or
is
No.
this? Is it performance arts or something like that? Or?
no, I thought I was going to major in psychology at the time because I took a psychology class that was really interesting, and 17-year-old me just wanted to run with it. But I ended up at Chico for dance. So I went to this dance convention that was in Modesto when I danced at my high school, which I went to Bayer High in Modesto. And I went to this dance convention and I won an award there. And me and another girl got an offer that basically like we can go audition to be in some music videos, or we can take like a $2,500 scholarship. The only condition to it is you had to dance at whatever school you went to. So I took this scholarship.
Sorry.
Roscoe.
Is,
Roscoe
like you
knows
said
no
earlier, that was
personal space.
A little amazing.
It's true.
You guys can see he was basically sitting on my lap.
Yeah. But so I went to Chico because that was one of the schools that their dance team looked really good, and they had a hip hop only dance team that I liked. So I went to Chico.
So you chose school instead of the music video then?
Yeah.
Okay. What music video was it, if you don't mind me asking?
They didn't really say. I forgot what the record label was, but it was like whatever record label Chris Brown worked for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it was in New York City. It would have been a really good opportunity had I wanted to pursue a career in dance. But even then, I was like, nah.
It's still so cutthroat and competitive.
Right. Right. And like that whole industry of like music and no offense, guys.
No.
Oh no, I've been in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a lot about the industry.
I mean, it potentially gets really ugly. Like
super ugly. Man.
I just didn't want that.
Yeah, I have some stories that aren't appropriate for the podcast. But I mean, there's very definitely in the entertainment industry there is a dark side to it. That's for sure. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Like
Be
of course
out there, folks.
Right. Of course we hear about some of it, like the conspiracies of like the Illuminati and all this stuff,
all that weird
which
stuff,
may or may not be true. Who knows? Only the elite, I guess. But yeah.
That's wild. Chris Brown video. That's crazy, dude.
I mean,
what's crazy is that dude's like over 6 foot doing backflips and stuff.
And he's like 40. I'm like, whoa.
It's just like you don't expect somebody like that tall we had some show where we performed at, and he was like one of the it was like one of like the Summerfest shows or something like that, and he was like one of the performers, and I just remember like walking by him, I was like, oh man, I was like, that dude's tall.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, that dude's doing backflips and
yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that is crazy. I think the other girl might have taken that opportunity, but she had a career in dance already. She was a very good dancer. I forget her name.
We still haven't heard of her, so that didn't really take her anywhere, did it? No, I'm just
kidding.
Wow, yeah.
Touche. I mean, my $2,500 didn't get me very far either. But
hey, it got you here on this podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be detrimental to your future, this podcast.
That was the end goal the whole time. I just didn't know it. Yeah.
Bucket list. No,
right. Yeah, I definitely don't regret my decision, though. I think that if I didn't go to Chico, a lot of like the life experience that I have wouldn't have happened. I did a lot of solo traveling in that time too when I did drop out of school.
Where did you go?
Oh boy, I've been to Seattle by myself, San Antonio by myself, Houston by myself, Phoenix by myself, Vegas by myself, Reno by myself, Washington D.C., New York City, Baltimore.
Did you live
New
in all
Jersey.
those places?
No, I just went to travel.
And check them out.
Yeah, I lost my grandma, and that was really hard for me. So
you had to do
my
some
way
soul
of feeling.
searching.
Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Everybody, I feel like everybody should travel and do a little bit of that.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree. There's so much of the world out there to see. And when I traveled to Washington, D.C. and New York City, it was during COVID, which had its pros and cons too. Like a lot of stuff was closed, but I mean, I have videos of New York, Times Square, like literally empty.
Oh,
like
wow.
I was just walking around New York City and I turned this corner and like, here's Times Square. And I'm like, whoa, like it felt like I just walked into a movie. Like I had no idea how close I was to Times Square. I just walked around. Yeah, it was a really cool experience. And I actually had one of my friends meet me out there. Boston, and bless her heart. Boston will never watch this, so I'm gonna
shout out to Boston.
Yeah, shout out to Boston.
Send her the podcast. Send her the link.
We went to Washington D.C. and we were like driving around. And we went to go see like the Washington Monument and like, you know, like all the historical
stuff. That's crazy.
stuff.
You got to see all that stuff?
Oh yeah, and it was like
cool.
almost empty because of COVID. It was so beautiful though. Like the whole Washington D.C. in itself, like I think everybody should go there. It is so beautiful. Like when you
the
drive,
architecture and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like when you drive into the city, like you're just on this freeway or this huge highway, really, and you're just driving down, and it looks like you're literally gonna drive into the front of the White House. Like the White House is just so huge and like posted at like the end of the freeway. It's like it's just so beautiful. Like I really can't explain it. And there's only like a couple blocks that are actually Washington D.C., but it's so just like dense. Because of like the architecture and like all the history.
That's
there.
like how the East Coast is though. It's just really dense. Yeah.
And that's something like once I traveled over there, I was like, oh my God, like I need to come here more because everything is so close. Like California is so huge. Like we can drive 2 hours from here.
People forget how huge California is. Yeah.
Versus like 2 hours from here, we might get close to the Bay. like 2 hours from Washington, D.C., you pass through New Jersey, Delaware, you get into New York City. Like
half the coast.
Yeah.
No,
Seriously.
because I've had friends come out from, like New York and Philadelphia and stuff, and or like they'll come out from the East Coast. They're like, "Hey man, I'm in L.A. Drive down and see me."
Yeah.
I was like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
I was like, "It's like an 8-hour drive." They're like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Like,
People that don't live in California, they're like, "Oh, are you next to the Bay or are you next to L.A.?" Neither. Okay, Sacramento? No.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're by the beach?
No. No, I remember like I went to when I went to like Colorado, I was like 15. I went out to meet my biological dad, and everybody's like, "So do you live by the mall?" And I was like, "Kinda." They're like,
mall?
"Are you by the beach?" I was like, "Not really." They're like, "But aren't you in California?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
We're not just beaches and malls.
Right.
I'm in Northern California. There's like a forest and stuff. Yosemite. Come on, man.
Right. Right.
It doesn't sound as cool to say, yeah, I live in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. It's like, what?
Yeah, I live in the armpit of California.
I wouldn't argue that this is the armpit, though. I would say like Bakersfield is the armpit.
Oh yeah,
You know,
definitely like Baker, Visalia,
Fresno, Visalia,
Tulare.
yeah. But I would say we're extremely fortunate up here. It's beautiful up here.
It's super beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another thing too. The campus is gorgeous. Like when you go to like, MJC for example, it's very like concrete and
I was so shocked how flat it was.
Yeah.
we're in the valley.
It's just like, why can't I see a bunch of buildings? They should be obscured by hills and
trees. Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what is this?
Yeah,
Exactly.
no, the campus is beautiful. I mean, like we got a little lake you could kayak on.
Yeah.
Right, as long as you don't mind like hiking or the occasional confrontation with the goose, you're like,
Yeah, we got
you're-
some mean geese.
yeah, we do.
Like they're very territorial.
Yeah, and they will bully you off the sidewalk.
Yeah, usually I just keep my eyes down and walk
Doesn't
around.
make eye contact. Just
Usually if
don't
I'm
look at
carrying my guitar, I'm like, hopefully like this makes me look bigger.
I don't
Is it
think
like
they
a
care
berry
about
stand?
size, dude.
No.
Yeah, they're pretty brave.
Yeah. Yeah, they will quite literally stand in the middle of the sidewalk and hiss at you for to go.
Yeah, and I know like what was it last semester? There was like a bear sighting.
Oh, I
plenty.
did see that. I wasn't on campus that day, but I did see like the text messages come across.
a
and-
I live in the dorms and they play talk radio out loud in the night next to the dumpsters because there's a black bear that'll go through the dumpsters. So they had to like put something to make noise to scare it off. And we'll get texts like from the RAs saying like, "Oh, there was a mountain lion sighted."
That
like,
poor bear. He's like, man, I really loved that dumpster.
Yeah, now there's like people talking
So
around.
now
all
there's
the
somebody
time.
living in it.
Yeah, so we have lots of brushes with wildlife, and the deer are always.
Oh, what was it?
sorta,
Daniel Gottsell, who we had on last week, he said he ran into a full-blown buck. Had all kinds of like.
Oh
yeah.
wow,
Yeah,
Antlers?
yeah, like
from-
they were face to face.
Wow.
interesting.
A deer like stomped at me one time. Like he like.
Are they
stomped,
aggressive?
And they're like
I wish you guys
I
could see
don't know.
Armand's
Yeah, I'm like-
movement here.
he like took his like left paw and like stomped it on the ground and was like back up.
Is it a paw or a
Was it-
hoof?
A hoof? Whatever. I'm no
hand, it's
scientist.
the
I'm
hand.
A
music
paw
major.
sounds cute. A hoof sounds.
Well, this bear didn't.
Scary.
This,
Scary.
This deer didn't sound too cute.
No,
Right.
I was like, all right. Well,
Sounds like he had a knife.
I was like, whatever. I'll walk away.
I think being from Modesto, I think that's something that like I haven't quite gotten over yet. Is like the amount of wildlife we have here and just how like normalized it is. Like, oh yeah, there was a bear, a mountain lion, or a rattlesnake, or a tarantula. I learned today there's tarantulas up here.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen some.
Yep.
Freaky.
That's not-
I'm not even that afraid of spiders, but if you see a spider that big, like walking just like out and about, it like freaks you out a little bit.
Yeah, those
Oh,
things
I can-
eat like birds.
Yeah,
They're
I
big.
think I would cry.
They're big and they're furry.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're furry.
And you can see their little fangs.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
My third grade teacher had a tarantula, and
what do
as a
you do
pet.
with that? How is that even a pet, man?
You just feed it crickets. It was kind of cool. It would like pounce on them.
Wow.
Oh man,
They're cool, but
Pretty scary.
they're cool.
to see out and about, it's kind of
See
disconcerting.
in the wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Dude.
I haven't gotten the pleasure of seeing a rattlesnake yet.
Oh man.
You'll hear them
So-
first.
Yeah.
That's what I always hear.
Sounds like a sprinkler.
I grew up in Angels Camp, and there was a few times where it's like a cat, like our cat would like be like looking at something, and like I go outside and I'm like, it sounds like a hose has like sprung a leak or something.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you're like looking around and they're like, that's a rattlesnake. We got to go.
So, yeah, we had this little orange tabby cat when I was a kid, and a rattlesnake bit him in the face, and he almost lost his eye. And then, like, the next week, like, after he recovered, he came back with he killed the rattlesnake.
Oh, my gosh. He went for revenge.
Oh, he was mad, dude.
Yeah.
Like, he almost died.
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
he was in the vet for, like, a few days. His whole little face he almost lost his eye.
Yeah.
But he was, like, this little hunter cat. His name was Percy. He was a really cool cat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like Percy showed no mercy.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So do you have any plans for after the semester, or like do you work outside of tutoring?
So I actually just quit my full-time job over winter break, but I was
so
working
you're
at
working
the
full time and going to school full time
and
too.
working part-time at the
goodness.
AAC to being a tutor. Yeah.
Dude.
Badass.
I can't do it again this semester, so
I feel
that's why I ended up quitting. But I did work at the Lakes Treatment Center. It's a rehab for dual diagnosis.
In Copperopolis? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, dual diagnosis for mental health and drug addiction, which was really interesting. It was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot from that experience. Definitely, I was definitely bittersweet to let it go, but
I've heard that's a cool place to work too. No?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. I would say sometimes like the dynamic isn't all that great, but it was a very good place to gather experience. I got a lot of exposure to a lot of different infectious diseases. There's a lot of Hep C there. There's some HIV, lots of syphilis.
Oh, wow.
Lots of mental health. So I have an uncle actually that's he's homeless usually, but he's in prison right now. He just got sentenced to 11 years, but he's schizophrenic and he's addicted to meth. So that was kind
does
of
not help schizophrenia.
Right. And it's, we can never get him sober long enough to tell if it's a meth-induced psychosis or if it's actual schizophrenia.
And then you never know if he's taking his medication or not either, right?
Right. And he struggles a lot. Like typically he's only listens to like my mom or I if we're like, we need, you need to take your meds.
So like that's kind of what I've heard, just with my experience with some schizophrenic people, there's usually like one or two like lifelines that like that's who can get through to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is really my mom for him. They're full-blooded brother and sister, and they're the only ones. So all my other aunts or uncles either have a different mom or a different dad. So they're the only two from the same set of parents. And I think that sometimes he's open to listening to me, I guess, because I resemble my mom a lot. And
right.
I do remember him before he's gone off on this binge of, but unfortunately my little brother, he's 10 years younger than me. He knows nothing of who our uncle actually is. But do
you think maybe like having experience with your uncle kind of drove you to go for nursing, like maybe helping people and stuff?
I don't know about nursing. I think what drove me to nursing is like, I like to fix people. And in the past, that's like made me serve some kind of consequence, whether it's like, I'm getting dragged through the mud with somebody or whatever it is. But nursing will definitely like allow me to help people that want to be helped. That was another thing that was really fulfilling about the Lakes is that most people that turned themselves in there weren't court ordered. They really wanted the help.
They were ready for the help.
Right.
Because that's another thing. Like my biological mom was a really bad, is a bad drug addict, and it was just, I just know you're not ready to quit until you're ready to quit. And there's a lot of people that don't, like I guess family members and other people that don't understand that. Like,
right.
Well, why won't they just stop? Well, they went to jail. The judge told them this. It's just like people who smoke tobacco and stuff like that. You're not going to quit unless
you're ready.
You're ready and you want to quit. So.
And when you love somebody, it's really hard to accept that.
Yeah.
My biological dad, I don't know him very well at all. I think I've met him. I mean, I could count on my hands how many times I've ever seen him in life. But he's a drug addict. He's a heroin addict. And I think that combined with my uncle is why I was so passionate about working at the Lakes and helping people that wanted the help, because my uncle and my biological dad, they don't want the help.
Right.
They are perfectly fine doing what they're doing, and unfortunately that's probably their life. Yeah,
that's their lifestyle. No, unfortunately, I have some family members like that too. So when I was younger, I was in the foster care system. So it's like, I was lucky enough to get adopted by two sweet, very beautiful people that I call mom and dad now. But I've met my biological dad like once, one time, like he's a POS.
Yeah. Yep.
And then I was off and on with my biological mom, and she just was not a good. She's just not a good person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's really hard to accept that. So like, my heart goes out to you because it's really hard to accept that and then being able to move on from that. But luckily, you do have those people that came through for you and adopted you. Yeah.
Well, you know what? And it did take a lot of years for me to realize, like, hey, that's her lifestyle. That's just how she is.
Right.
Like, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do to fix it unless she wants to fix herself.
Right. And that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, it is. So that's really cool. You did the work at the lakes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was really fun.
So did that drive you more
things.
to like wanting to do the nursing program too? Like, hey, I want to help people now. Like people who want to be helped. So are you
Definitely.
thinking like what kind of field you're going to go into with the nursing, or is it going to be like a broad, like, you know what I'm saying? Like an RN or like.
Definitely RN. I'm definitely going through the RN program. I would love to work in the ER first while I have the stamina
Like
while I'm young enough.
like
yeah. I love traumas. I did EMT when I was 19.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So did you ride like the ambulance and all that stuff?
I did. I didn't finish off again with the bad path thing, but I did do EMT. I did my ride-alongs and everything, and it was super fun. Like super fun. That was the first time I ever did CPR. That was an experience. Yeah.
Oh wow. So have you saved lives?
Do that.
No, he did not come back. That was the only time I've actually done.
Asked.
No, it's okay. I mean, it's part of it. This is gonna sound kind of callous, but if you're doing CPR, they're already dead. So you're trying to help, even if it's not successful.
Back, yeah.
Right. Even if it's not successful, like you didn't kill the person, they were already dead, or they wouldn't have qualified to start CPR.
Right.
But that kind of was sad. It's very.
How do you separate that? Like, how do you separate like your work from like, you know, you're on trauma, people who need help, you're giving CPR, you're trying to bring somebody back to life, and then how do you go home and relax? Like, how do you separate that?
Actually, I'm going to bring this back to the lakes. I know something else sparked you to ask me that, but while I worked at the lakes, we had a resident commit suicide there.
Oh, no.
And that was actually hard for me because I had dealt with that resident pretty closely that day. He did it at nighttime. He was found around 10 p.m.
Oh, no. I'm so sorry.
No, that's, it's part of it. When we are working with mental health, I mean, it's part of it. And again, that sounds callous, but going back to how you separate it. My stepdad is ex-law enforcement, so he's very familiar with like debriefing and stuff. And I came home and I told him, I was like, hey, like I need to debrief. Like this is what I walked into this morning at work.
Right.
Like by the time, I mean, I worked early morning to mid-afternoon, so I worked like 6 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And he was found around 10 p.m., like I said, and everything was, coroner had picked him up and everything about midnight. So when I got there, the people that were there when the coroner was there were still on shift. So it all boils down to if you let your emotions get in the way, you are no help. And that could be if...
And you're there to help.
Right. And that could be like for your coworkers, like in that sense, I had to be there for my coworkers because my coworkers were exposed to it in a different way than I was.
Right.
And if I were to get emotional or break down, and then all of our other residents, I mean, that's an inpatient rehab. So the other 45 residents that were there, like they needed me to have my head on straight. And they had been with him just like I had. And, they're more vulnerable in the situation than I am because they're just giving up their addiction. They're struggling. They're facing these traumas for the first time. And if I'm sitting there and I'm so just
emotional or whatever.
I'm no help. And like same thing when you're an EMT or a nurse. Like if you're
freaking out,
really
you're not helping the situation.
Right.
Wow, that's
right.
That's crazy. I mean, that's a good way to look at it. That's
Yeah. I mean, it's way easier said than done. And I feel like if I didn't have my stepdad to debrief, I probably wouldn't have been able to sleep.
Yeah.
At least a little bit. But it did consume my thoughts for a while. Like I came
bet.
home and I had to have an additional with a session with Trish. And I was like, hey, this makes me feel weird. For those of you that don't know, Trish is another one of our awesome tutors.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But,
shout out to Trish.
Yeah,
shout out
awesome.
Trish. Yeah.
We got to get her on the podcast.
Yeah, we do. Are you ready for that?
I don't know.
I love Trish.
Yeah. If we have more microphones, we could have multiple tutors on here.
Yeah.
Get the whole AC.
Are you ready for that?
Yeah. We might not make it through that one.
That might be like a 6-hour podcast, and nothing was talked about. Nothing and everything at the same time.
What time are we at, man?
We're almost at, we're actually at like 40 something minutes.
All right.
Nice.
I think it's been
a great interview.
Yeah.
Cool.
I want to thank our guest, Maddie.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Mr. Stinky
This was fun.
Roscoe.
Yeah, Roscoe has been helping us
Roscoe
along.
almost cleared out the
keeping us
room.
on the toes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.